A new thing. Hello, Malcolm here, and welcome to your daily devotional podcast anchored in Isaiah 43 and verse 19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up, do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. We're currently looking at God doing a new thing in the life of Rahab. Today, let's explore what Rahab knows. Joshua chapter 2 verses 8 to 11. Before the spies lay down for the night, she went up on the roof and said to them, I know that the Lord has given you this land, and that a great fear of you has fallen on us, so that all who live in this country are melting in fear because of you. We have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the two kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, whom you completely destroyed. When we heard of it, our hearts melted in fear, and everyone's courage failed because of you. For the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on the earth below. So, what does Rahab know? Rahab knows that God is at work. She says that many have heard of what God is doing in the parting of the Red Sea. In other words, not only herself, they've heard of that. Also, many have experienced what God has been doing in the destruction of Sihon and Og. I mean, that was a pretty dramatic experience for the people involved. And many are worried about what's going to happen. She says that many people's hearts have melted in fear. But there's something different between the many who've heard what God did with the Red Sea or with Sihon and Og and all the hearts melting with fear. There's something different about Rahab. Only Rahab knows what God is doing. She says, I know that the Lord has given you this land. She knows it personally. It's her own faith. Rahab knows God is doing a new thing. She says, the Lord has given you this land. That's going to be new for the land, new for the inhabitants of the land that are there, and new for the Israelites as they come to take up that inheritance of the land and drive out those who are currently there. A lot of new things, new experiences happening to everybody, and Rahab can see it. Rahab knows it. You see, it's one thing to hear about God, but it's an entirely different thing to recognize the relevance of what God is doing for our own lives. I'm recording these largely for the work in Thames Valley and in Watford, and I do believe that many of us can see that God is doing new things in Thames Valley and new things in Watford, but can we see God doing new things in our lives? Perhaps you've heard of God moving in someone else's life or somebody else's church, somebody else's group, and perhaps that can be a faith inspiration for you, but what is the relevance of other people's good news for you? And what is the good new thing that God might be doing in you or preparing to do in you? That's one of the reasons we have times of quiet with God. We have times when we step away from everything else that's busy and filling our minds and our hearts so that we can find some peace and some calm, some space for God to be able to speak to us, to make sense of what's going on in our lives, to help us to see the new thing or the new things that He's doing in our lives and around us personally. The new things in your family, the new things in your household, the new things in your neighborhood and your workplace, the new things in your local group, the new things that are going to bring Him glory, the new things that are going to demonstrate that He truly is God. That's something worth praying about today. Well, I hope you find your heart, your life, your congregation, and your world inspired by God doing a new thing. But until tomorrow, take care and God bless.